Hi guys, you found Can't Stop Writing with author Carol Alwood. I provide writing and YouTube tips so authors can find more readers. Today's topic is how to create a likable character. I'll be right back and then we'll get started. The first quality of creating a likable character is found in imperfection. Readers don't want to read about a less than believable character who's absolutely perfect. Readers want to read about characters that could be real, that are like them. Many times readers are reading to feel that human connection, and we all know that nobody's perfect, so we need to see up front some kind of imperfection within the character. I'm not suggesting that you go to a far extreme and make this character completely a disaster. There needs to be some redeeming trait. Let me give you an extreme example of this. In the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, it starts out where the character's describing himself and all of his imperfections. He even talks about a dog of his that's suffering. You can't help but be drawn in by all of this mess. And it makes you want to find out about the character. I felt very sorry for him and I wanted to see him succeed. I wanted to see things get better. So I'm not saying you have to have a character be a total mess and disaster, but I'm also saying that you can't have your character be absolutely perfect. If your character is absolutely perfect, nobody will feel like finding out what happens because the character's too good, too perfect. It's not interesting. And we're all flawed and we all know that. So that's why it's important. Another example of a book that has a flawed character at the beginning is in a book by Jasmine Warga called My Heart and Other Black Holes. And the main character is named Azel. She's a 16-year-old girl who calls herself a physics nerd. So right off the bat, she has a flaw. You can imagine that other people maybe make fun of her being so academic. Hearing about a character's flaw sort of opens a door to their humanity and makes you want to join them on that journey. And if you've read My Heart and Other Black Holes, you know it's a story that involves suicide. So right away, she has major problems. In the book Fault in Our Stars by John Green, the main character Hazel is stuck in her room depressed. So I think you're getting the picture that at the beginning of the story, you would do well to include a character flaw with your character. And if you've read any of my material related to focused backstory, I often suggest that you pick a quirk that stems from their painful past. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out my book called Focused Backstory. Another quality of a main character that is likable is that the main character doesn't overuse sarcasm or put downs with other characters. It's okay for your main character to be annoyed with other people or acknowledging other characters' fault, but it's important that they don't overuse sarcasm or come across as far superior to everybody else, because nobody wants to root for someone who thinks they're better than everybody. In one of my first novels that I wrote, my editor pointed out that I was doing that, and so I've been very conscious ever since of making sure that my main character does not come across as overly arrogant, that there's some element of compassion and respect in the things that they're doing, in the goals that they set, and in the way that they treat other characters. Unless if your main character is going to learn a major lesson related to the sarcasm and the putting other people down, I wouldn't suggest including it. However, if you do want to write a story about that, then it's okay, because by the end of the story, they'll have learned something big about that. Another way to create a likable character is to hint at some past pain that the character has gone through. In hinting at a character's past pain, the reader can feel empathy for that character and want to see them heal and grow and get better. Another way to make a character lovable is to make sure that you include someone in the story who cares about them. Let's look back at A Fault in Our Stars. In Hazel's story, her mother cared a great deal from her and talked her out of her bedroom and asked her to go to a group that would help her with what she was dealing with. I think sometimes writers go a little bit too far with this. If you look at the Twilight series, everybody was in love with Bella, and I think that that was a bit overdone. But it's important to have some characters who do like and appreciate your main character. In one of my favorite movies of all time, Napoleon Dynamite, you'll notice Napoleon's on a bus to school, and there's a kid in the back of the bus with him who says, "Hey Napoleon, what are you going to do today?" And it shows somebody in Napoleon's life cared enough to ask him a very basic question. And from the way this kid asks the question, you know that he somehow either looks up to Napoleon or they've been friends at some point. And even though Napoleon's response is, whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh, that might not seem very likable, but since this kid likes Napoleon, we have to assume that there's something redeemable about his character. Another way to create a likable character is to make sure that the character does something nice for somebody else. So not only do you have someone in their life who likes them, but you need to find a way to show that they are also a giving person. It can be as simple as letting someone have your pencil. It can be as elaborate as delivering a muffin tray or checking on someone in their family to show compassion and love, and that they're willing to take the time out of their busy schedule where they have goals and they have problems, but they're still willing to do something for somebody else. It's important to show that early on in your story. Another way to create a likable character is to show that they're motivated in some way. Give them a goal that's going to span the entire story so that we can follow them and see if they're able to achieve it. The thing that they want can be even small. It could be an agoraphobic who simply wants to open the door, walk down the steps, and collect the newspaper for the day. It can be as elaborate as someone training for a marathon. It can be someone who wants to get a date to prom. The goal needs to be shown early on in the story so that the reader can root for the main character and hope that they are able to accomplish this. So there you have it. Those are the qualities of creating a likable main character. If I've forgotten an element of this, feel free to put it in the comment section. I love having conversations with other writers about these things. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you back here next Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, and in the meantime, happy writing!